Welcome back to my train room. I hope you all enjoyed last week's project and found it useful. This week I'm going to do a different kind of load for a different kind of car. If you've been following my channel, you'll already know that I have a dozen Bowser 2-bay hoppers for gravel and coal service. When it comes to gravel, I'm using live loads, but for coal I need to make inserts. If we look here, the first 6 cars have loads that I made yesterday, but the remainder are currently empty. So let's rectify that, and I will show you how I made these coal loads. For the core of my load, I'm using 1/4" sheet balsa. I would have liked to have got 3/8 or 1/2 inch, but I couldn't find any, so I'm just using what I could get, and I'm going to laminate some more on top. First thing to do is measure the inside dimensions of your car. This needs to be 106 millimeters by 31. Well, I've cut them all to size. On these cars there is a brace halfway along, and that will foul the load if I try to put them straight in. So what I've got to do is cut a notch. So once I've got all these notches cut out, the next step is to glue scrap. I'm using 3/16 balsa because I had some just chunks on there, just so I can get more of a hump. Just regular white glue. I'll just leave that for an hour and I'll be back. When it comes time to shaping the load, it's important that you know what part of the coal delivery process you're trying to represent. When a car is first loaded at a mine, the coal will be in fairly high mounds, but as the car finds its way across the country, gets jolted around every time it's switched into a different train, every bump will tend to settle the load. So by the time it gets into a local freight for final delivery, the mound will be fairly low in the car. Since that is the part of the process that I'm representing, I want fairly low mounds. There are various tools that will work to shape the load. We can carve it with the craft knife. We can use a wood rasp. Either of those methods will work. I found what works best for me though is to take it out into the garage and use the bench sander. So I'm going to head out there now and I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. This has the rough forms. I could still do with a bit of cleaning up, but the bench sander is too vicious a tool for doing fine adjustment. I just want to get it approximately right. So I'm just going to play around with them just a little bit. There would be a certain amount of variation in the load shape in the period that I'm modelling. Of course, if you're modelling a modern period where everything was done with flood loaders, then they all need to be the same shape. To make it easier to unload cars at their destination, I'm going to insert small nails into the middle of the load. That way I can just unload them with a magnet. So what I'm doing now is cutting a trough so that they can sit below the surface instead of causing a bump. Now I'm just going to get some gel type super glue, squirt some in the trough and put in a nail. And you're going to repeat the process for all the others, and I'll be right back. Now what I'm going to do is cover the nails with a piece of paper, because the coal won't stick too well to the metal. Just glue this on with white glue. And it's as though the hole was never there. After I've done this to all of them, the next step is to paint them black. So let me just get on with that and I will be right back. For this next step I'm working on a sheet of plastic because the glue won't stick to it. I've graded coal into 3 distinct sizes, and the first thing I need to do is to coat a load with glue. It's basically full strength white glue, although there's a little bit of water in it because the brush was wet to start with. It makes it easier to spread that way. And then I just choose a grade of coal and sprinkle it over until no glue is visible. Whatever falls off I will be able to salvage later. Okay, I've left these to set up, and here's another advantage of doing it on a sheet of plastic. I can just bend it and it will flake off. Right. Turn it upside down, knock off all the excess coal. I've still got to clean them up a little bit. Right, let's just dump it on this cookie sheet for recycling. Okay, if we look at this one, there's a few lumps of coal stuck on the side. I've got to sand those off before I can put it in the car. Right, moment of truth. Success. So here we have our loads in the train, and I realised you couldn't really see what I was doing on the cookie sheet because it was black, but the magnet just lifts them out as easy as it can be. And any load should fit in any car. All of these ended up looking about the right height, but if they're too high, the easiest way to lower them is just to chamfer the bottom corners off with a file, and if they're too low, just put spacers in to lift it up. Well, that's all for now. I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do for next week's installment, so stay tuned and I will see you then. Thanks for watching.